With time slipping away, I faced an impossible choice: deliver my son too soon, risking his fragile life, or wait and risk him never meeting his father. The doctors moved fast. My heart raced faster. And then, just when all hope seemed lost, a miracle unfolded before our eyes. But would it be enough to save them both? Ben and I had been fighting this battle for months, but deep inside, I always believed we had more time. When the doctors admitted him to Riverdale Medical Center, I prayed it was just another temporary setback. But the moment I saw the concern in the doctor's eyes, my heart cracked. Something was different this time. Something was worse. Wednesday came like a storm. I held Ben's hand as the doctors spoke, their words cut through me like a knife. His 6-month prognosis had turned into days. My world spun, and my breath caught in my throat. I turned to Ben, his tired eyes searching mine, and we knew what we had to do. We had to bring our baby into the world before it was too late. With only 5 weeks left before my due date, I knew asking for an induction was risky. But I couldn't let Ben leave without meeting our son. The ICU doctors and labor team worked together without hesitation. "Are you ready?" they asked. I wasn't. But I nodded. Because this wasn't about me, it was about Ben, about our son, about love. That night, as they prepared me for induction, I lay awake listening to the steady beeping of hospital machines. My mind raced with fear. What if something went wrong? What if our baby wasn't strong enough? What if Ben didn't hold on long enough? I squeezed my belly, whispering to my son, "Come soon, little one. Your daddy needs you." Before they wheeled me into labor and delivery, I sat by Ben's side. His grip on my hand was weak, but his eyes were filled with determination. "I'll hold on," he whispered. "For you. For him." Tears burned my eyes as I kissed his forehead, wishing I could freeze time. But time wasn't on our side. The contractions started slowly. The doctors assured me everything was going as planned. But every passing minute felt like an eternity. My body was working, my baby was coming, but my heart was with Ben. I needed this to happen fast. I needed a miracle. Morning came, and so did the doctors, their faces filled with urgency. "He doesn't have much time," they told me. My heart dropped. The plan had to change. A C-section was our only option now. I didn't hesitate. "Do it," I said. "Now." There was no time to think, no time to process. Only time to act. The bright lights of the operating room blinded me. My hands trembled as the doctors worked quickly, their voices blending together. I felt pressure, pulling, movement. And then, a cry. The sweetest, strongest cry. My baby was here. My son had arrived. I barely had time to kiss my newborn before the nurses rushed him away. 2 floors up, to Ben. I held my breath, praying he would make it, praying he would feel his son. The minutes stretched endlessly as I lay there, stitched and helpless, waiting for news. And then, it happened. The impossible. The moment my baby was placed on Ben's chest, his vitals improved. His body, which had been slipping away, responded. He moved his head and let out soft moans. He knew. He knew his son was here. And for the first time in days, I let out a sob of relief. The nurses wheeled my bed into the ICU so I could be beside him. My body ached, but none of it mattered. I held Ben's hand, watching as his chest rose and fell in shallow breaths. He was tired. So tired. But he held on for us. He kept his promise. With our newborn son still on his chest and my hand in his, Ben took his final breath. It was quiet and peaceful. A single tear slipped down his cheek. He had waited. He had met our son. And then, he let go. My heart shattered into a million pieces. The hospital room was silent, except for the tiny sounds of my newborn son breathing. The doctors and nurses stood with tears in their eyes. I wasn't alone, but I had never felt lonelier. I turned to my son, my last piece of Ben, and held him close. They say grief comes in waves, but for me, it was an ocean threatening to swallow me whole. Yet, in the depths of sorrow, there was love. Endless love. The love Ben left behind. The love I now had to carry forward, for myself, for our son. We hadn't chosen a name before that night. But now, there was no doubt in my heart. As I cradled my son, I whispered, Elijah James Carter. He was strong like his father. Brave like his father. His name would carry that legacy. Elijah was born early, but he was ready. No breathing issues, no complications. It was as if he had been waiting for this moment, prepared for it. And in his tiny face, I saw Ben's strength. A miracle in every way. Walking out of that hospital without Ben felt impossible. But I had to. I had to take our son home, to the life Ben would have wanted for him. The world outside kept moving. Though mine felt frozen in time. Days passed, then weeks. I learned how to be a mother to Elijah while carrying the weight of my grief. Some days were harder than others. Some nights, I still reached for Ben in my sleep. But Elijah's little hands, his tiny smiles, kept me moving forward. As Elijah grew, I saw more of Ben in him. His eyes, his expressions, even the way he held on to me, as if he knew how much I needed him. Ben may have been gone, but he was still here, alive in our son. 1 year later, on December 2nd, I stood in front of Elijah's crib, tears streaming down my face. Happy birthday, my love, I whispered. You are a miracle. And as he looked up at me with those same eyes that once belonged to his father, I knew, this was not the end. It was a new beginning.